put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We are here live from Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And I have a small surprise for you. Very, very small but very exciting still. On my list of handsome young men that normally join me for hosting on a Wednesday, I would like to introduce you to a very familiar face. Welcome, Luke Trim, this morning. Thank you so much for being with us here on Tobago Updates.
Good morning, Natalia. Good morning, Tobago. Yes, it feels good to return back to Tobago Updates.
Right.
I'm just making a guest appearance this morning, but it's always a pleasure to be here, Natalia. How have you been?
I have been okay, hosting with Dwayne has been exciting as always, right? But I'm happy that you are here with me this morning. This morning is a wet Wednesday.
It's a very wet Wednesday.
Tuesday wasn't any different. We had some really, I wouldn't even say scattered showers. They were very full, very, very heavy showers. I was asking the producer this morning, why am I here? That is weather to stay in your bed.
Correct.
Right? But I am here, we are here to just have our Youth Wednesdays this morning with our viewers on our varying platforms. That is Facebook, YouTube, and 102 on AMPLIA. A very special good morning to you. All right, but before we go on, Luke,
yes,
we'll have our news in 90 seconds with Miss Alia Golbin.
Thank you, Natalia and Luke. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, June 11, 2025. A late-night police operation in Tobago led to a significant drug bust and an arrest linked to a robbery. Around 10:15 p.m. on Monday night, interagency task force officers conducted an exercise in the Riseland district. They spotted a white teeter. They spotted a white teeter suspected of being involved in a recent robbery. Further investigations at a nearby apartment building uncovered 2.6 kilograms of cannabis and a quantity of cocaine. One man was subsequently arrested in connection with the report of a robbery. Investigations are continuing. In a significant legal ruling, the appeal court has reinstated a nearly $20 million awarded to 9 men previously acquitted for murder of Vindra Naipal Kulman. The majority decision, during a virtual hearing by Justice Nolan Brooks and Mark Mohammed, overturned the High Court that had set aside the damages. The men who spent 10 years in prison before being freed in 2016. They were awarded $2.1 million each for malicious prosecution. The court emphasized that public opinion must not influence judicial decisions and reaffirmed the principle of presumption of innocence. Despite a 2-1 loss to Costa Rica in San Jose on June 10th, Trinidad and Tobago's Soca Warriors have advanced to the final round of CONCACAF qualifying for the FIFA 2026 World Cup. Costa Rica topped the group with 12 points, while TT secured second with 7, edging out Grenada on a goal difference. Levi Garcia netted TT's lone goal, while veteran goalkeeper Marvin Phillip delivered key save. Though reduced to 10 men, Dwight York's team led firm, doing enough to book their spot in the next qualification stage. That was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you very much, Alia, for that read. And Natalia, today is always a special day. This is my special part because I love to tell people happy birthday.
Right.
If you know me, I love to tell people happy birthday. So viewers, at this moment, we're gonna have our birthdays today. So who's first on our list?
First on our list, a very bright smile there, a very bright soul, I should say, Dr. Kemchal Salandi Garcia. A happy birthday to you. I really do hope that even if it's a wet Wednesday, it's a wonderful Wednesday as well for you. All right, so happy birthday from the Youth Wednesdays Tobago Updates family.
And next on our list, we are sending happy birthday to Miss Alicia Denoon. A special happy birthday to you. And last on our list, we have
Drum roll on a
drum roll. I don't know, it just looks so familiar.
Of course it does.
Spitting image of
Spitting image. We always say that, you know, he is the what to say? You said spitting image. We had to bring in something else, Luke. It's like looking in the mirror.
It's like, you know, a reflection.
A reflection.
A reflection in the glass, a reflection in the mirror. It's like I've seen 3 of him in the same space already.
3 of them. And you know, very vibrant souls, all 3 of them. But this morning we have to give, you know, a very big happy birthday shout out to Mr. Hezekiah Wood. He is the father of Mr. Ronald Wood and Ruston, who normally graces our screens from every now and again. Right? So Woods, a happy birthday to you. I know you're a very joyful soul, very vibrant soul. I hope that Ronald and Ruston treat you well today. Right? A big shout out to you coming from one of your favorite students, just saying, you know? So big up Sir Woods and happy birthday to you.
And you know, guys, this weekend, especially the weekends in Tobago, are very important and special to our culture because everybody knows that it's harvest time.
Of course.
Were you in Roxborough Harvest?
I wasn't, but I had a little drive-by, if so to speak, lightly speaking on that drive-by part. I passed through Roxborough. Roxborough was vibrant from the night before into the actual day of the harvest. I think the harvest was on the Sunday. But even from the Saturday, Roxborough had it going at the Sid Gray car park. And then you did the drive-by through the actual village and there was just, everybody was just everywhere. Right? So I know that Roxborough Harvest, normally spoken of as a big harvest, was well supported again this year. So what to say, congratulations to the Roxborough people.
Correct. Alia, what about you? Did you pass through Roxborough?
No, I did not. I actually engaged in watching the football match over the weekend, along with going to the beach.
Okay, nice. Sounds like a quiet weekend. Well, unfortunately, I was cooped up in my room doing all sorts of work and I couldn't make it to Roxborough Harvest, but I can assure you that the harvest made it to my room and my belly because, you know, the food was brought and the food was amazing.
Well, I think, Luke, then you attended the harvest because that is actually what the harvest is about. Let's go eat, you know, let's go celebrate with others.
And I think they are true to their motto, no long sauce. Natalia, the sauce was not long. It was not long.
That's good. Roxborough, big up you. Big up you one time. I think they started the harvest season, did they, or someone else?
No. I think before we had Delaford but so, you know, harvest season is still ongoing. I think next up on the list is Lambo.
Right.
I may or may not show my face, who knows, because where free food is, I'm always going to be there.
All right, so Lambo, you are up next. No long sauce, according to Luke. Roxborough came in with a really good thick sauce,
flavorful,
seasoned to the bone sauce, right? So Lambo up next with the no long sauce, please and thanks. I also want to throw in that Idris and Darren were here last week. They spoke on the spoken word. There was a program on Sunday for the fathers, in light of Father's Day. And that program was just well done. They brought what we thought they would bring, and that was that energy, that creativity coming out through poetry to speak about fathers, to speak about all sorts of things. But Darren and Idris, I just want to big up you all. Thank you so much for that giveaway as well. I just want to throw that in there. You know, big up you all for what you all are doing, and we hope to see another Borderlines event here in Tobago again. All right, so Luke,
yes,
let's take them through the rundown for this morning.
Of course. So today, as per usual, we have a packed and fun segment for you.
Yes.
Starting off, we're going to be chatting with Kyle Eastman, co-founder of Getaway TT. Next on our list, as we are getting into Father's Day celebratory mode, we will be speaking with Esther Batiste and Elizabeth Batiste, events coordinators, and we'll be chatting a bit more about why they are here. And then we will be chatting with Hazel Hosford, planning committee member, as we will be speaking about a pre-harvest mission service. So viewers, we have an excellent show for you today. I know the weather is very gloomy, but we will be keeping you entertained during these times. But we have to remind them too, Natalia, share the live, share the live, share the live.
We'll be right back.
we go. This is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun Up.
Real bad girl get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition. The ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Pablo Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun Up. It's more than a brunch. It's an experience.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but my cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the place down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And viewers, we are back here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We go straight into what we promised you in our rundown. First up, we have Mr. Kyle Eastman. He's here to speak to us about Getaway TT. Now, when I heard about Getaway TT, I thought, here comes this Airbnb app specifically for Trinidad and Tobago. But in speaking to Kyle, and of course he'll bring that information to you, there's so much more to get from Getaway TT, right? So, without further ado, Mr. Kyle Eastman, good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure having you. Always a pleasure having someone from the tourism sector join us, to be quite honest, because, you know, we love to hear about what Tobago has to offer. Yeah. And here is Kyle giving us Getaway TT. Yeah. So what is Getaway TT, Kyle?
So Getaway TT is a local platform built within Trinidad and Tobago. It's a marketplace platform that was designed to bridge the gap between the stakeholders amongst Trinidad and Tobago. So as you rightfully said, most people would think, here comes another Airbnb, right? So what we would have called it is a Airbnb on steroids, right? So meaning we decided to bring every aspect of the tourism sector together. So the platform is a marketplace for accommodation, car rentals, tours, events, and we have the capability to as well allow for the airlines and the ferry service to be booked through a platform. Eventually, we would want to partner with the stakeholders from these places to ensure that once anything that you want to get, once anyone comes to Trinidad and Tobago, ultimately, we want Getaway TT to be a part of their trip.
Okay.
In some way.
Okay. All right. So now, as you said, there is Airbnb. So what sets you apart from what Airbnb is? What do you have to offer to stakeholders? What do you have to offer to the airlines? What do you have to offer to citizens, tourists coming in? I know we have a very big tourist destination. We want to upkeep that, you know. So what is your contribution aside from just, yes, being a part of their travel destination? What else do you have to offer to tourists?
Right. So first of all, we chose the route of using the same commission rate to the vendors as Airbnb, which is 3%.
Yes.
That's extremely low, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing is our rates to the customers are actually lower than Airbnb.
Right.
Airbnb's average rate is between 10 to 14%. Ours is between 5 to 12%.
Okay. All right.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, you know, we have a Forex crisis in this country. And with the Forex crisis in this country, we have local platform in order to book using your regular VTM card. So as opposed to you having to use your credit card to book on Airbnb and sending this Forex back out of the country, we would be able to use our local currency. And additionally, when international guests use Getaway TT, it would now be able to bring the Forex back into the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that is probably one of the biggest ones that people would look at. You know, as you said, Forex is a problem right now. So having Getaway TT bring that Forex back in, maybe we could withdraw some more US from the bank. You know, just putting it out there, Kyle. Just please push for Getaway TT. Thank you. Right? So, how do you vet people coming to the marketplace to not sell but rent whatever it is that they may be bringing to the marketplace?
Okay, so first of all, what we decided is we want to ensure that there's a standard on the platform. And in trying to ensure a standard on the platform, we offer free photography to the accommodations especially. I always say people buy with their eyes. The moment you see a beautiful place, you want to stay there.
Very correct.
Right? That's the first thing. And the second thing is we try to ensure, for example, with the cars, we try to ensure that your car isn't of a certain age. If your car is of a certain age, we would then now come out to see the vehicle to ensure that this vehicle is 100% roadworthy for the customers. You have to have things like your insurance. You have to have things like your inspection done. You have to have proper tires. So we try to inspect the vehicles as best as possible to ensure that the experience is maintained, right? Because we don't want an issue where people are now saying, hey, I got a vehicle from Getaway TT and it broke down on me. That should never be something that comes out of the platform. And we are very aggressive on kicking people off if that's the case, if you cannot bring your vehicle back up to standard.
All right. I mean, that is fair. If you want to maintain a standard experience from Getaway TT, by all means, because I mean, I can't run from Getaway and then all of a sudden I'm climbing a hill and only meet halfway and have to turn around to come back down, right? That's a no from me, and I think that would be a no from a lot of people. So, you know, I'm happy that there is a vetting process. In terms of I know you said accommodation is one of them. How do you go about vetting the villas? Because, I mean, villas, when I say villas, apartments, anything along those lines. Because, I mean, I'm not bringing anybody down, but sometimes the pictures are aged. They were when the villas and the apartments were in their prime. And when you go there, you can tell that there has been some aging. So how do we vet the accommodation aspect of it, the villas, the apartments, etc.?
So thankfully, unlike Airbnb, I am able to go directly to every single villa and see the quality of it, right? I am very hands-on when it comes to dealing with my vendors. So most of the villas, most of the hotels that I have on the platform already, I have already seen them. I've seen the rooms, and I would make recommendations, right? I make a lot of recommendations to these people, and they take it very well. So, for example, with Caribbean Estates coming on the platform, they decided, okay, this is an opportunity for us to upgrade the pictures. Well, they have their own in-house photographer, so they decided to go upgrade all the pictures because, as you rightfully said, a lot of the villas that they have would have been changed in some way. And and that's why we decided to use our own photographer as well, even if you don't have a photographer, because we don't want the pictures that you send unless it's accurate.
All right. So how do you protect your vendors? Because, okay, yes, we spoke to having a good experience as a customer coming to Getaway TT. But what about the vendors who are indeed renting their things? What feedback would you take to know if I could take this customer back into Getaway TT and have them use anything from the website? Whether it be, because I know people would complain and they would put their reviews and this and that and the other about this person villa or the person car, whatever be the case. But the way how they kept the area, the way how the owner had to come back and do whatever they had to do to bring it back to where it needs to be, it sometimes it's a lot. So how do you protect the vendors in this case?
Right. So for cleaning, they can add cleaning fees to the platform. So you could add cleaning fees as an extra charge if you know that you have to pay an external cleaner or whatever it is. And in terms of damages, Getaway TT honors up to $10,000 in damage claims. So we would do that for the vendors, and that's already built in and paid for based on the commissions that we will be earning already from the platform. So the vendors could rest easy knowing that, okay, up to $10,000, they would cover it. I mean, damages past $10,000 should be covered under their insurance, which I would always recommend every vendor. If you have $1 million property, why not have property insurance? Right? So small damages we'd cover. Things like someone broke the toilet, they broke the sink, that kind of thing. We'd cover up to $10,000 in the cover, with our damage coverage that we included in the policy of this platform.
All right. Okay, so I know the title of the platform is Getaway TT. It caters to Trinidad and Tobago, yes. What do you have in the future for Getaway? Should I say Getaway? Because I know if we take it outside of Trinidad and Tobago, it no longer would be TT. So what are your future goals for Getaway TT? So
ultimately, in the domain name space, Getaway is a very expensive domain name, actually. Right?
All right.
We have plans that once the platform grows, we want to purchase the domain name Getaway. That would probably be one of the biggest domain name purchases in Trinidad and Tobago history.
All right.
Yeah, the cost of it is extremely high. But ultimately, before that, we want to expand to the Caribbean eventually. And with expanding to the Caribbean, what we would do is just use Getaway, drop the TT. And so, for example, it would be Getaway SK, which is St. Kitts. Getaway GY, which is Guyana. Getaway SL, which is St. Lucia. And that's what we would do initially. But ultimately, we want to purchase the domain name Getaway.
All right. Okay, so where do I find your contact information as a vendor and as a customer? If it's two different things, we'd like that information now. And even to those who may want a t-shirt like what Kyle is wearing, I put it out to him before the show started that, maybe he could just grace me with one of those shirts. But, not for the shirt specifically, but how do we get on to you if we want to join the platform, join the market space, or we want to rent from the actual market space?
Right. So, first of all, the handle is getawaytt.com. On the platform, there is the company's number and email address, right? Additionally, I would actually say it's 792-6563. You could call at any point in time, I tell people all the time, I am a night owl, so you could call me in the middle of the night and trust me, I'll be up to answer that phone.
Okay.
Right? Because at the end of the day, we eventually want the platform to be a 24-hour service,
yes.
whereby middle of the night a customer needs something, they could call the platform and get it done.
And I think that is actually getting ahead. And let me just put that in right there. A lot of places that we have here, I mean, yes, they offer a wide range of services, but one of these services isn't 24-hour. And they would say 24 hours sometimes, where you call them at whatever time of the night for whatever reason, and they can't answer the phone. So I really hope that you honor that 24/7 part. Yeah? So what else, how else do we get on to you? If not by phone, what else can we go through?
If not by phone, you could go to Facebook. It's Getaway space TT. If you go to Instagram, it's getaway.tt. And if you go to TikTok, it's Getaway TT.
All right.
Right?
So you're on all the platforms, basically.
Yeah. Additionally, so what we did originally was a vendor launch. So we, in the process of onboarding vendors, because at the end of the day, if you come to our marketplace and there are no vendors, you're not coming back.
Right.
Right? So we are in the process of onboarding vendors. And on the 5th of July, we are actually doing a formal launch. With this formal launch, we'll invite, of course, we'll invite Tobago Updates to be there, right? So we'll invite the media houses, we'll invite other stakeholders, our vendors. We're doing a lot of giveaways. There would be mini snack plates.
I'm hearing food. Go ahead.
We also partnering with a vodka company, a new vodka company in Trinidad, Fortini Vodka. Fortini Vodka will be there giving away welcome shots. The launch would be at Crown Hotel. That's the a new hotel in Tobago, relatively new, and lovely place. So it'll be at Crown Hotel. We also would have Levida Hotel doing a 2-day stay giveaway. We have different car rentals giving giveaways. We have Easy Goers bike rentals doing a bike giveaway. So a lot of our vendors have Fish Tobago doing a tour giveaway, a bioluminescent tour giveaway. So a lot of our vendors are really partnering closely with us to ensure that, one, the growth of the platform and the success of the platform, and two, ultimately we are giving back in the sense of ensuring that they grow as well with us.
All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Eastman, for joining us here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. I'm very excited to see what Getaway TT brings for us here in Tobago, being a very big tourist destination. I look forward to what you have to offer us from your marketplace. Not just accommodation, as you said, like Airbnb, but you now have cars, you could get apartment rentals. Based on what you're saying, we could get tours, we could get a lot. And we can all learn about that.
So for example, I'll even go further. For example, with the Tobago Carnival that's looming over shores, we also trying to partner heavily with the mass bands. So you could sell a mass band with our platform as opposed to going to island e-tickets, which people usually do. You could sell a mass band on our platform. You could sell the FET tickets on our platform. So yesterday we actually brought on board ARI events with What Are You Doing? They selling tickets through our platform as of yesterday, right? That would be, well, the social media will come out for it on Friday. And we have a mass band, I can't really remember the name. My assistant was dealing with it. And we have a mass band on board. I have a meeting with Jade Monkey today, as a matter of fact, to discuss it. I'm supposed to have a meeting with Telecruise soon enough for Foggy Angels to discuss it. So we really are truly trying to partner a lot with these different stakeholders in the mass band and events to tell them, hey, we have an option here in Tobago that you could use as opposed to using island e-tickets or ticket getaway or whatever other platforms.
Right. Okay, so I'm hearing options coming on stream now. Think when you have options, there's a lot of push to have your platform being the best, and it kind of raises the standard for everybody. So here comes Getaway TT. Your standard has to be up because they are coming to take the competition away. I would just put that in there one time. He mentioned certain things like island e-tickets. I know there's a lot of policy included in island e-tickets. We learned that from the recent happenings, involving island e-tickets in purchasing tickets for one named concert that happened or was supposed to happen the way it should have in Trinidad, right? So we now have Getaway TT platform to purchase our tickets from. So another safe platform, not just for accommodation and tours, etc. But we can now look forward to mass band rentals. Well, the rental for mass bands. We can look forward to tickets. We can look forward to a lot from Getaway TT. And eventually we could probably see Getaway Guyana, Getaway St. Lucia, etc. Right? So we want to just wish Mr. Kyle Eastman all the best in Getaway TT. It sounds like it's already upstream. It's already on the ground running.
Yeah.
So all the best coming here from Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. Kyle, it was such a pleasure having you here this morning. Right? So up next, we have an event. So stay tuned and share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Tobago. This Labor Day, June 19th, API Music and Timeless Vibes Promotions kicks off Tobago Jazz Music and Golf Weekend 2025 with Plymouth Love, featuring Jazz at Dawn, 6:30 a.m. till noon, with Franz Job, Prince Unique, and much more. Then kicking it old school, 6 p.m. to midnight, featuring Oscar B, Andrea J. Donowa, Joe Archer, and a very special guest, K. Alan Maloney, all at Plymouth Tennis Court Car Park. This entire celebration is in support of K's medical expenses. Just $200 per event, or experience both events for only $300. Tickets are available at Barcode, Nanandes Bar, and Island E-Tickets. Events supported by Frankie Tours, Bermuda's Biscuits, Tobago Updates, Street 91.9, Radio Toco, Stone Tower Studio, Eye for Design, and Click. Plymouth Love, one community, sunrise to sunset.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We continue on with our rundown. We get straight into the sisters. I told you we have a big event to discuss this morning here on Youth Wednesdays, and the sisters, I'm going to stress on that, are very excited, very happy to be here to share this event with you. We know that, there is Father's Day coming up on the weekend. A lot of us may want to know, what is it I could do for Daddy this year? I bought him socks and boxers last year. What else can I do for him? And here comes, this big event that you can attend hosted by the sisters. I just want to put that out there. It's really cute, guys. Right? So this morning I want to introduce you to Elizabeth and Esther Batiste. Yes. Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning, Natalia.
It's a pleasure having you all here. I mean, yes, we're here to discuss the event, but we're also here to discuss food. And as I always say, I'm always excited about that topic. Yeah, that is food itself. Right? So viewers, aside from the event, there's a lot to look forward to at the event. So we'll get straight into it. The name of the event is Dear Daddy. Right? So what inspired Dear Daddy event?
All right. Well, we first want to say thank you for having us, and thank you for giving us the opportunity for us to express what Dear Daddy is all about.
Always a pleasure.
All right. So Dear Daddy is a premium Father's Day celebration, and it is, of course, hosted by the sisters. And the sisters is not just who you're seeing. We do have another sister, but we'll get into that.
Is her name beginning with E as well?
No. So
Anne
it's
Marie.
Anne Marie.
Okay.
All right. So the sisters, we would have created, and we created the event to honor and to uplift fathers and father figures in a meaningful and memorable way.
Right.
It is going to be held on Sunday, the 15th of June, between the hours of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
So we have the morning to spend with the fathers. So this is dinner. Don't feel all get away with the breakfast, right? You all have to make the breakfast and then they cater to your dinner needs, right? Yes, 4 p.m. to 9.
All right. And we're going to have it at the beautiful Tobago Hospitality Institute up at Mount St. George. We're going to have it where it is going to be a 3-course meal, of course. I have to say that because, we all like our stomach. So it's a 3-course dinner.
That was part of my introduction.
3-course dinner.
Yes.
All right. We're going to have live entertainment, of course. We're going to have dance performances. We're going to have games. We're going to have moments of bonding, because that is what actually it is about.
Right.
For you to interact and bond, you know, within these 5 hours. You get to realize certain things that you may or may not know. You get to remind yourself about certain things. We have serenading. We have giveaways. And of course, we do have a best dress.
Oh,
a best dress.
All right. So that sends me straight into my next question. Who does the event cater to? Because, I mean, if you're having best dress, don't let me dress up my daddy dapper and come up there and he had to compete against them other people. No.
All right.
So who does the event cater to?
Right, so the event caters to families, right? Especially dad, because it's Father's Day.
Okay.
Right? So all fathers and father figures, because we have men that are not fathers, but they still, do some father in role to nephews, nieces, etc. Right? So we cater to all fathers, and not just couples. We cater to single father. I might just have a father. We've encountered a father who says that, you know, nobody does anything for me and would just like to enjoy an afternoon out. So we cater for those as well.
All right, nice. So I'm seeing, we just saw a glimpse at the flyer.
Okay.
Right? She mentioned before that we'll be exposed to a 3-course meal.
Right.
Now, 3-course meals are not always on the cheap side. Right? But I realize that this event is really catering to my needs, I mean, and your needs as well as the viewers. Right? So what would be the cost of coming, the very cheap cost that we might have seen on that flyer that was just on the screen?
So the cost of the event is $250.
A person?
Per person, yes.
For 3-course meal.
So wow. Yes. And that's, we think, is pretty reasonable, right? Because you'll have your starter. We have welcome cocktail on arrival. We have our 3-course meal, which would take care of your starter, your main course, your dessert, and other nice things in between, right? So, yes, it's going to be a very amazing event that caters for all that.
All right. So at this event, you mentioned there'll be serenaded by a few people. There'll be live performances. Who can we look forward to hearing from at this event?
Should we give that away?
Well, I would like to know it. If it's a secret, you could tell them that it's a secret.
It's not a secret. We'll have saxophonists. We'll have live entertainment by one well-known Miss Lynette. We have dance performances, etc.
Etc. I feel like that part is a surprise. You have to come to see and know.
Yes.
All right. Will there be tickets sold, or is it just a pay-for event at the event?
Yes, we are selling tickets.
Right. Where can we find those tickets?
Right. So you could call the numbers on the flyer. 483-7421
And then you have
678-4474 or 319-2342.
Right, so that's Elizabeth, Esther, and Anne-Marie.
And Anne-Marie.
And Anne-Marie. We can't forget Anne-Marie.
She is actually the innovator of all of this.
Okay, so she was the one with the big inspiration, and she called up Esther and Elizabeth and said, we have to have a Dear Daddy event 2025.
In Tobago.
In Tobago.
Not in Trinidad. In Tobago, because she's from Trinidad.
So she's coming over to Tobago just for this event, just to cater for Tobago fathers. That is what I'm hearing. Anne-Marie, welcome again. Welcome to Tobago. I really hope that, the Dear Daddy event comes off and fathers are very much appreciated for all that they do for us as children. Okay. Should we want to find out any more information about the event, we contact the same numbers, yes?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any, social media handles that we could follow to find out more about the event as it goes along?
Not at this time, I think. Yeah.
Not at this time.
No.
All right. There is a deadline for, I'm seeing it on the flyer. Everyone saw it on the flyer. There's a reservation deadline for the 5th of June. But when they saw my lovely face this morning, they decided that they'll extend that deadline. So not Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie isn't here. Esther and Elizabeth. Yeah. What is the new deadline for ticket sales and where can we purchase them from?
All right, so we're going to look at Friday being the deadline date. And
3 more days added.
3 more days added. 3 more days added. And of course, you can call any of the sisters on the flyer, any of the numbers, and of course, we will get them onto you. All right, we will deliver.
Right. So you heard it here first. It is the Dear Daddy event for 2025, hosted by the sisters.
By the sisters. And let me just not say just the sisters. The sisters are at the forefront, yes. But we do have a support at the back. We do have the daughters of the sisters that is carrying it through. Which is making it a memorable experience. And together you'll have 20 years of experience between the sisters, I would say, from event coordinator, my sister, of course, here. You have from food and beverage, and then you have community engagement.
Right.
So that, to me, is a holistic experience where we are, out of reflection and love, we really found that the fathers, our heroes, are often overlooked. And it is from an experience, I would say, for me. I didn't share it with my sister, but I would remember our dad on Father's Day. Of course, you talked about it at the beginning, where mom will buy us socks. You know, pair of socks, and she will give it to us and say, go give it to your dad, tell him today's Father's Day. And you know, fathers, you know, they grow up to be very strong and does not show emotions, but I'm sure in the back of it, you know, they feel for something different.
I mean, they voiced it a few times, you know. There was a Father's Day, especially, I went on social media, and all the fathers were ranting, I don't want no socks and boxers this year, right? So I'm happy that you all found a new idea to bring to the table in terms of that. I'm seeing Esther scratching in the back there just to give me more information on this event.
Yes, I just want to say that, you know, yes, we would have recognized that more emphasis go on Mother's Day, right? And this is one of the reasons that we birthed the idea to show appreciation and love to our dads and to let them know that we see you, we appreciate you. So we've tailored the event just for the fathers, right? Yes, of course, we have the accompanying families, etc. But the event is still, especially for the fathers, because we want to say, we recognize you. We recognize you. So, you know, instead of just taking your dad out to a restaurant, which most time is just what happens, right? We've created a space where they could bond and, you know, have a meaningful afternoon, you know, take your photos and have some entertainment. Have some good food, and just enjoy the afternoon. So you do what you do in the morning, and you still have things to do in the afternoon.
Of course,
right? So that is why
I mean, it's Father's Day. It's the entire day that we have to cater to. So the host, the sisters of this event, they are happy to cater to your needs. That is the evening hour needs. That's 4 to 9 p.m. And I'll just run through the details before you two leave me on set here. All right. So it's the Dear Daddy event 2025, a Father's Day celebration honoring the kings who did it all. It is the 15th of June at 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., so don't be late. It will be hosted at the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute. $250 per person, and that is for a 3-course meal. You are invited to pay that very cheap price for that amount of food. An extraordinary event. It includes a complimentary cocktail, an exquisite 3-course buffet meal accompanied by a local drink. An evening of fun and entertainment, lots of prizes to be won, including the best dressed daddy. Right? For contact information, you can contact either one of the sisters, or I'm guessing Nikki is a friend, right? Daughter. She's a daughter. Elizabeth at 483-7421, Esther at 319-2342, Nikki at 342-9147 or Anne-Marie at 678-4474. Information is all on the flyer. This is an event hosted by the sisters Elizabeth, Esther, and Anne-Marie. So from us here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates, we wish you all the best. And to our viewers, please bring out your fathers in their best dress for Dear Daddy 2025. Thank you so much for joining us, Esther and Elizabeth. It was a pleasure having you here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates.
Thank you so much.
All right, so viewers, stay tuned and please share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Assemblers, I'm Kaylee Andrews, presiding officer for the second annual primary plenary debate happening Thursday, June 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. inside the Assembly Chamber. Autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. 19 bold young voices are ready to shake the island as they tackle the big question. How does autonomy affect us, the youth? With courage, clarity, and conviction, we're stepping up and speaking out. Join us live in the chamber or tune in on YouTube and Facebook. We are bold, brilliant, and just getting started. Thursday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Listen, we little, but we talawa. Don't miss it.
Tobago. This Labor Day, June 19th, API Music and Timeless Vibes Promotions kicks off Tobago Jazz Music and Golf Weekend 2025 with Plymouth Love, featuring Jazz at Dawn, 6:30 a.m. till noon, with Franz Job, Prince Unique, and much more. Then kicking it old school, 6 p.m. to midnight, featuring Oscar B, Andrea J. Donowa, Joe Archer, and a very special guest, K. Alan Maloney, all at Plymouth Tennis Court Car Park. This entire celebration is in support of K's medical expenses. Just $200 per event, or experience both events for only $300. Tickets are available at Barcode, Nanandes Bar, and Island E-Tickets. Events supported by Frankie Tours, Bermuda's Biscuits, Tobago Updates, Street 91.9, Radio Toco, Stone Tower Studio, Eye for Design, and Click. Plymouth Love, one community, sunrise to sunset.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl, get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Harblow Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun up! It's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Youth Morning Show here on Tobago Updates, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Now, viewers, before I jump into this interview, I have a picture to show you, and you just have one simple task. You have to guess where this picture is from. Where is it taken? So just take a look, soak it in, soaking all that Tobago beauty. And at the end of this interview, I will be coming back to tell you the answer. So you can either comment it or you can WhatsApp us. I will be eagerly awaiting to see who is going to get it right. And this photo was courtesy Morris Godard. Now, viewers, harvest. From the time you hear harvest, you're thinking about food, you're thinking about that banter between the villages, who source long, who source end long, it's just something we always look forward to. However, in the Anglican faith, Harvest Thanksgiving is a time to give God gratitude for the bounty of the land. It reflects themes such as stewardship, providence, and communal responsibility. And here to chat with us this morning about the pre-harvest mission service is Miss Hazel Husford, Planning Committee member. Miss Husford, a special morning to you, and how are you doing?
A blessed good morning. I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, nice. Now, before we get into it, are you one of those persons that engage in the harvest after the church service?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm not the person that gets into it, but what I know about harvest, for me, in growing up, harvest was like you're going to church, and after church, you have things to sell. Like you would have candies, you would have fruits products. You would have like cane, you would have banana stuff that you have in the market. Like you would have your fresh eggs, things that you have at home. Like if you have a mango tree, you would have you bring out your best mangoes for that day. If you have a pumpkin tree, you bring out your best pumpkin. You're bringing out the best, because when you're giving God the best. So to me, for what I know, we always try to give God the best. So you would bring out whatever you have for your harvest, you bring it out and you sell it. And you may long ago you used to have a little concert, like maybe up at the school, Lambo Anglican School, they used to have a concert. But now things have changed. So we have to go with the time. Okay. I have no problem with the big eats because it's in giving that you receive. It's better to give than to receive. It's a pleasure to do that. When you give, the more you give, you would get so much more. You have to be generous. Generosity is the whole thing for it.
Now, Ms. Husford, I want you to walk me through what harvest was for you growing up as a little girl, because we know that Tobago harvest is rooted in our culture and heritage, but you have noted that things have changed.
Yes.
So based on what you grew up with versus what you are seeing now, what are some differences you are observing?
All right. Okay. In growing up, well, of course, you have to go to church. You can't. It's no if, buts and ands about that. You will be at church, and after church, they would have a little concert. You would have the children, we saying your poems, you would have your little hymns, you would do stuff like that. But now, it's like, we cannot get away from that, but we still are going to have the choirs, we're going to have the choirs. Still, you want the children to know about God. We want the community to know about God, because without God, we are nothing.
Understood.
So, now it's like, we have the little choirs coming. We involve the school, Lambo School. We have the children from the school coming. They would like learn little poems. They would have their hymns. They, usually they come and they have that. We have maybe somebody from the community who could play steel band, just to entertain, to keep it compact. Yes.
Understood. And Miss Hosford, I attended an Anglican school when I was younger.
Great.
And the harvest, I knew it was, that church service was very important.
Yeah,
it was something that was paramount. It was basically that opportunity to set the tone for how that Sunday would be.
Thank you very much.
And when we observe the culture we are seeing in Tobago, yes, we understand that we are probably marketing or placing more emphasis on the afternoon session of the harvest. But I think that more emphasis needs to be placed on that church service, so we could understand that beauty of.
And if ever a time we need him, is now. Church service is the important.
Understood.
Part.
So, walk me through this pre-harvest mission service and what is it all about?
All right, the mission service is we're trying to get the people from the community to come out. Doesn't matter if you're Anglican. Doesn't matter if you're. Doesn't matter the religion. We just want you to come out and join with us as we give God thanks. We praise God. We worship God, and you hear the message. It has a message behind it. And then you could visit, and help people would come out to the harvest. And we hope that people come out to the harvest after that, and enjoy the harvest. That is what this mission service is all about.
Great. And it's going to be...
And it's on top of the hill. Everybody here on top of the hill, opposite by the bar, from the bar.
Okay.
What a good place to go and give it. Let people know, it's not all about that. It's come out, hear the choir. Our music ministry choir. Hear the word, which is important. I'm sure we're going to be having a dynamic word to let the people know how great God is. It's mostly to know how great God is and to see what they'll be having, a little intro of what they'll be having for the harvest.
Understood. And I'm noticing here that the theme is through our generosity, we will produce fruits for our harvest.
Thanksgiving.
What does that theme mean to you personally?
Okay. So what we are doing is giving to the generosity. There's no holding back. It is nothing. You just give whatever it is. So after the mission service, you're getting the word, which is important. The most important thing, you're getting the word. It's like a revival. Long ago, everybody have crusade, and you go out and you're here, and you get people, bring in members. So now it's not a crusade, but it's about getting the villagers. These days in the community, you have all kind of crimes, all kind of, the youths not getting involved in all. So we're trying to see if we could bring back the youths to service, to church. The Anglicans have been moving away. So we're trying to bring back, let everybody know, service. It's all about God. It's not about us. It's not about Anglicans, but it's about coming out there, hearing the word of God. And after you hear the word of God, give you something to think about. You might be like,
And Miss Hosford, listening to you articulate what this service is about, one of the overarching themes that keeps resonating with me is community. And when you think about harvest, whether it's in the evening, the morning, whenever it is, it's always rooted in community and just enjoying that.
Yes.
So, Miss Hosford, I noticed that it's going to be on the 12th of June.
Yes.
5:30 p.m.
Yes.
Opposite the bar on the hill, Lambo, and everyone is invited.
Yes, sure, for
everyone
sure.
Is invited.
Everyone is invited. Come out. Young, old, in between. just come out and give God thanks. Just come out and worship. Just come out, give him the praise, give him the honor. Because without him, we cannot do anything. And he is he's the head of our lives.
So viewers, I think you all have been paying attention. I hope you take away how important this service is to us, not only as, human beings, but as Tobagonians. This harvest, I think we all know about the evening part, but that church service is very, very important.
Yeah.
It's very, very important, and it really makes our harvest our harvest. It's one of our Island's unique cultural calling cards. So viewers, that was the pre-harvest mission service, and I was chatting with Miss Husford. Now I'm gonna pull up back the photo that I chatted about a bit earlier. Lovely. So viewers, this is the photo of the day, and for those of you who guessed correctly or didn't guess correctly, this photo is taken in Plymouth, Tobago. Look at that beautiful water. Wow, Tobago is just so beautiful. All right, viewers. So, Miss Husford, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure being here this morning.
It's really good to reminisce on those good moments. I remember, being from the Anglican school or school always had to sing
the choir. You get a little sweet bread, you get a little tulum, you get a little sponge cake. You know, you come out, you get, and you like, if you like the cane, you get your cane. Those days, you get a little pumpsity, you get your mangoes, you get your pawpaws, fresh from the garden, fresh, fresh.
I really hope that we can go back to those old ways, and I think that our young people really need to get involved in that type of culture and that type of fellowship.
Yes.
So, Miss Husford, it was an excellent conversation, and I really appreciate you coming and sharing that perspective. It was a really, really good interview.
Thank you.
Viewers, we have reached the end of the youth show here on Tobago Updates. Now, it was a pleasure just being a guest artist today, viewers. I know you all miss me. I missed you all while I was at school. I know you all have been attacking my mother, asking, where is Luke? Why am I not seeing Luke? But I'm here. I'm back. I'm just on vacation because it's been a year, and I'm going to be back on Tobago Updates very soon. This is where it all started for me. But until then, viewers, I want to thank you for tuning in this morning. Thank you for listening. Thank you, because we can't be Tobago Updates without you all. For all of you that believe in us, believe in the vision, and believe in the impact that we have on this beautiful island of Tobago. Thank you so much for choosing Tobago Updates to start your morning on the right note. Now, as we depart, I just want you to do me one little favor, and that is to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The strength of our resilience towards disaster preparedness and the strength of our resilience to the impacts of climate change, while it is grounded in our capacity and our capability in terms of our responsiveness, the resources that are available to us, while it is indicative as well as of our technical capabilities and how we are trained to prepare. But I want to tell you this morning that our resilience is also grounded in the fact and also largely dependent on how much we can collaborate with each other.
But when we look at our landscape, on our inner cities and also our rural communities, they are highly vulnerable to hydrometeorological events. And therefore it's important for these stakeholders, our stakeholders, to understand exactly what is happening with the hydrometeorological impact on our exposure. For example, coastal community, our slopes, slope failures, fallen trees, our utilities, and what is going on with our infrastructure. And we have seen where funding has become a major issue in terms of rehabilitation and recovery. And therefore, I think it is necessary for all of Tobago to understand the importance, therefore, of resiliency. And this session will allow us to have a true picture as to what is exactly happening, not just the negative, but also how we can merge our resources together.
One of the things that we're looking forward to is having pods in every community so that when a disaster hits, they're not looking at Speyside to get a chainsaw. They would have it within their own community. They'll be able to respond to their own community emergency response. So another thing, as Dario was mentioning, was making sure that we know who are the vulnerable within our community, where is the loose roof that's in our community, so that we know even beforehand how we can address these issues.
I am a returning national. I recently came back to the island, back in April, and I wanted all the information that I could get, really, because I'm worried about what I don't know. And so far, it's a lot. So it really is about the information so that I could be prepared for what is to come. I'm so glad that I'm here, and I already picked up a few things that I need to actually learn some more about. So I think they're absolutely vital.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Today I learned about how jobs are back flu, how the destroy lungs, you can get cancer. I learned what marijuana and drugs can do. It can make you go to jail, it can make you bleed very, very fast, and it can give you lung cancer.
My name is Sherman Joy Charles, and I am a Behavioral Services Officer with the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program under the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. So we are here to commemorate World No Tobacco Day, which is celebrated annually on May the 31st. And today we have our annual Clean Air Fair, where we target Standard 5 students throughout Tobago. This morning we are targeting the Standard 5 students from the Mason Hall, Moriah, Kasara and Palturier schools. And so we're just here to educate them on the impact of tobacco use and to give them the necessary skills that they may need to resist tobacco use. The theme for this year's initiative is actually unmasking the appeal to tobacco products. And we realize that a lot of students are now experimenting not so much with cigarettes, but more so with vapes, particularly students in the secondary school. And so this initiative was ready to capture the Standard 5 students before they get out into that high school environment where the pressure to use tobacco may increase. This was really an initiative that was born through our previous manager, Mrs. Billy Sterling Lewis, and it's just to really get the information out there to the students, really to have that intervention at an early age so that as they grow through adolescence that they can make healthy choices regarding not just tobacco use but healthy choices regarding their lifestyle. So what we want to take home is, one, tobacco use is not something that they should get involved with. There are no positive effects. So that's the first thing you want them to understand. And secondly, we want them to understand that it's okay to say no. A lot of children are experimenting because they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to resist peer pressure. So that's the second thing we want them to do. And we want them to be those persons that could go out into their schools and make a positive impact. Those persons who can mentor their own peers and, you know, give them the information that they would have received when it comes to tobacco. We want to really promote a tobacco-free Tobago, and so we want all hands on deck. It's not just the school's responsibility, it's not just adult responsibility, but we want to make sure that message is heard at home and also within the community spaces.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me.
We're on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. I know whenever you see me sitting, guys, because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. This morning, we kick off our interesting conversations by chatting with Mr. Ricardo Alfred, who is the chairman of the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company. And this morning, we are having a bit of an update on TADCO and all of TADCO's initiatives. Good morning, Mr. Alfred, and welcome.
Yes, good morning. Glad to be here.
Right. I mean, you know, every now and then we check in with TADCO and see what's happening down there. What are some of the new developments? Give us an overall view of what has been happening.
All right. So what's happening now in TADCO? So currently we have a community care project in which we are definitely reaching out to the farmers. It's going to run for a period of 6 months in which we take all of the produce and we distribute them to various persons in need in the society, you know. The impact from this really is to gather the data, which will now be used to identify exactly what goes on in Tobago as relates to the production level, as relates to agriculture. This data will now be used, and we would definitely have some conversations with the various stakeholders and people like the supermarkets, the restaurants, those type of persons, so that we provide that data to these people so that now they will have a consistent supply based on what persons are actually producing here in Tobago.
Right. And, you know, when you hear from a lot of companies and businesses as to why they often prioritize imported goods, you hear them saying that a lot of times locally, the quality and the supply is inconsistent with the demand. How would the data help to translate to increasing our ability to produce a consistent number of produce at a consistent quality level?
Right. So what we have right now is terms of verification. Now, verification is very key. Even if someone comes and says that they have X amount of produce, what we do is a verification team that will go out and verify exactly what the person is doing, if they are following good agricultural practice and these type of things. Over the span our term at TADCO, what has happened is that we would have had the poultry program. This program here now with the community care is a hybrid version where we are taking the goods directly from the person as relates to the chicken. So before we would have provided the inputs and stuff like that. So now we would have provided in the training as relates to how to grow the chicken, the different slaughtering practices. And now we are geared at taking that finished product from that person. So it's kind of a hybrid person where we have persons on their own now after the training and stuff like that. As relates to the harvest, and we did some training as well as to various harvesting practices. At the end of the day, when these businesses want certain product, they must be able to ensure that it comes from that persons are following good agricultural practice. And so this is therefore linked to that whole process in terms of the training leading up to this final project here.
Right. And what about the Mega Farm Project Initiative? Where are you guys as it pertains to that?
Well, TADCO is partnering with the Mega Farm Committee, in which they are now identifying different areas in which persons can get involved as relates to the Mega Farm. The Mega Farm is therefore important so that you can have persons streamline on various products that Tobago actually use on a regular basis, if not daily basis, and therefore have a more consistent product going forward. All of this really is geared towards closing that gap, From where I work for the last around 23 years, I can tell you exactly what comes to Tobago on a regular basis. And the intention really, is to build what we have here on the island and promote that local product right now.
Excellent.
Yes.
And even as it pertains to that capacity building among the farmers and that level of training, are you getting the type of support and feedback and engagement from farmers that is needed? And if not, what do you think is needed to get persons actually involved when these initiatives are put out there?
Right. So it's a twofold part where farmers understand. So we understand that the farmers can plant. However, there's a marketing side of it in which they have to sell their produce, which is a totally different aspect of it. So if TADCO can assist in that part in terms of providing the marketing, and that's what the data is really important for. So if X is producing this type of produce, we can therefore have that document to show that this is producing. And now, for banks and these type of institutions, you have to show a paper trail and you have to show a trend. So therefore, that will now be provided to these institutions where persons can now get loans and better be able to build their capacity and brand, if that is. So it's a twofold part where, speaking from a farmer perspective, I am able to identify how much it costs to produce one tomato, And we want to get farmers to that perspective, as relates to how much money you put into fertilizer, how much money you put into land preparation, even your time being there, things like, being able to understand the ground and the chemistry as relates to a good crop. That is the aim as well. So we are going to provide some further training as relates to financial stability, where persons need to be able to understand the simple part of it, how to write up receipts and keeping that record, because it is very crucial that the farmers and the processors, even the fishermen, because we're going to be doing some work with fishermen as well, understand the importance of keeping at your financial records. The bank have their matrix in which they would give persons certain loans and stuff like that, in which we have to assist in getting persons to reach that type of capacity.
Right, and even as it pertains to those national grants that are given out from the Ministry of Agriculture, now that there's a new administration at the central government level, would TADCO and your division be working closer with the ministry to ensure that Tobagonians are able to benefit from a lot of those national financial assistance programs for farmers?
Of course, the intention really is to collaborate and to get the needed assistance where it's needed, We are planning a visit actually to Trinidad soon, in terms of meeting with the Agricultural Ministry and stuff like that. But I know they're at the point now where they just came in, so we're just giving them some time frame to get everything arranged. It's a new government, so I believe that they're putting some stuff in place. But we are going to be meeting with them to discuss various initiatives, that I believe that would therefore put Tobago on the map again.
Excellent. And for you, what would be some of the key goals for TADCO right now as you are trying to grow and develop the organization?
So, TADCO, at the end of the day, is a company, Although we are registered under the Companies Act of Trinidad and Tobago, the major stakeholder is, and only stakeholder is the public, which is in the form of the assembly, the THA. So the aim of that really is to ensure that the company is viable. What we are doing so far in terms of, the fishing vessel, the cold storage, the dry storage, and the different aspects of what TADCO is involved in terms of these value-added products, is to provide a safe and clean product for persons. We are going to be doing some initiatives very soon as relates to our students who are across in Trinidad, as relates to getting certain agricultural produce during their time there in Trinidad. So we are working on some products, because part of it now is that now we are able to pay people in a more timely manner. The farmers who in our program, they have a seven-day gap in which we pay them. so that they are able to have that money in a very quick time. And all of the revenue that we have coming is going to go back into the public. And as I said, I spoke about the issue with the children being in Trinidad. For persons who study and them in Trinidad, getting food items and stuff might be a little challenging. Persons from Tobago may not want to venture into the market to get the best deals and to go further into certain supermarkets and stuff like that. So we are therefore going to get some items that we are actually producing in TADCO, things like the chicken, the mash, in which we control the prices, and therefore able to reach these students in a more financial, as relates to their limitations, in terms of what they can
And
do.
even as it pertains to fisheries, a new vessel was acquired by the Department of Fisheries. Is that so?
I would say it was a new, when it says a new vessel, a vessel that was repurposed.
Okay.
They had the Japanese organization by the name of JICA that would have donated some vessels. One of them have now been repurposed to do some patrols. There are 3 of them aluminum hull vessels, extremely good actually. Aluminum hull vessels is a very rare commodity. Given the fact that we are in a seawater, that they are in seawater all the time, is very good. So it's just to repurpose them and get them outfitted back in and put them back into the circulation of that department.
All right. And so we've heard that the popular recycling organization that is housed at the TADCO compound in Shore Park is no longer there. Tell us a bit about that.
Right. So it is very, very important for us to identify the difference between an occupant and a tenant, as it's just totally 2 different terms. An occupant is someone who is there, and a tenant is someone who we have a legal binding arrangement.
Right.
So TADCO, for the record, TADCO has no arrangement with this recycling company. Given the fact that we came and met them there, and due to the fact that we are a company, just for the public record, it would have incurred a debt of $3.3 million outstanding. But that was not the reason why they are not there, because...
Is it that you said that there was no agreement between the company and TADCO?
Yes.
So are you saying, so where did the debt come from then?
Well, there's something called rent, in which what had happened is that there was an agreement in the previous administration in which there was an agreement between the division responsible for environment and TADCO, right, in which they had put some initiatives there as relates to recycling that has since come and expire. But to say that there's an agreement between TADCO and the organization, it doesn't exist.
So where does the debt come from then? Because if there was no rental agreement between yourself and the company,
normally the division will pay the rent.
Right. So the debt was from the Department of the Environment.
Correct.
So, and nobody, made any moves to, to retain the finances from that debt from the department.
I would allow those people to speak on it. I really want to.
When you say those people, who do you mean?
Well, whoever is responsible at the time at the division level, as it relates to who holds that responsibility.
You mean the secretary for the division?
As I said, I really can't say how that agreement was made up. All I can say is that there was a documented contract which had a start date and an end date. It was a trial or a pilot project, if you want to call it.
Right.
I'm not sure what was the initiatives back then as to what has happened.
Right. But that recently I had a conversation with the Department of the Environment, and they indicated that recycling is a huge part of the agenda moving forward as it pertains to the environment. So I'm very shocked to hear that that company that was a part of that local recycling initiative has been moved out of the TADCO compound. And then you're saying that the reason for that is because there was no arrangement between the current TADCO and that company. So explain that for me.
So what I'm saying, I don't want us to mix up what you are saying.
Yeah.
That was not the reason why the company is no longer there.
It's not because of the...
No. We're not looking at the monetary aspect of it. I just outlined what was some of the issues, but that was not the reason. Okay. So we had received a shutdown notice from the Division of Health as relates to what was going on there. There's a lot of rodents and stuff as relates to garbage collecting that was not been doing anything. in which we were given a time frame to which the company was shut down, and then we had to clear. And again, TADCO took on that responsibility of clearing the space, in which we have removed about several trucks of garbage that I was just storing there. I mean, I can show you some videos and stuff. It was in a case where it was affecting health and it was affecting the public. Also, the tenants were complaining about the smell, the rodents and these type of things. So we have to abide by what health have to say, right? Just to be clear, that was a shutdown notice from health as relates to the, from their ordinance as relates to health, right? So just to be clear on that part, right? We as TADCO and as a responsible company had to take on the responsibility of clearing out that space because we have other paying tenants that have a responsibility to their staff and the people coming there. The room was filled to the grim out. I mean, we had to pay a backhoe. We have removed probably over 20 of these 10-loader trucks and we still are removing garbage. Each trip that we pay with the backhoe, is about close to $1,200 to $1,500 or something like that. So you understand the cost that we now have to incur of something that, so it's a way to understand that there's a public interest because if there are rodents and people make a video of rodents running around the compound, it will be a whole different story. TADCO would now face the blunt of it as if we are responsible. But as a responsible organization, we have to take that very serious.
Right. So is it that the company was not being managed properly or the recycling itself was not being managed in environmentally safe way as it pertains to health and safety concerns? I
don't want to get involved in that part of it. As I said, from TADCO perspective, we have to look at it from an overall perspective and take on the role of clearing the space and getting the issue sorted. I don't want to speak on the company and if they were managed properly and that type of thing.
Right, and even as it pertains to moving forward with recycling, because we hear the Department of the Environment stating that this is one of the things that they want to get into, raising awareness and getting Tobagonians more interested in recycling. Is it that, companies like these or even this very company would be relocated to another place where they can function in partnership with the department?
So what I can say is that at TADCO, we are therefore, of course, and we would assist in terms of providing an alternative means of recycling, of course, However, as relates to the company, I really can't speak anything on that as to if they are going to be relocated and what's going on. I could only follow what the law was in terms of clearing the space and removing the issue at hand, which was the health issue at hand, which would have posed a very serious threat to the public, and then we would have been having another conversation here as relates to what's going on in TADCO. So we had to deal with that part from an overall perspective in terms of clearing the space. I mean, it was in a very, very terrible, terrible, terrible situation, right? I mean, as you open that door, it was just garbage. I mean, you're talking about 5,000 square foot of garbage. That is not an easy task to clean, However, we had to now take on that financial burden to remove that those items there.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back with much more right after this, so see you soon.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
assemblers, I'm Kayleigh Andrews, presiding officer for the second annual primary plenary debate happening Thursday, June 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. inside the Assembly Chamber. Autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. 19 bold young voices are ready to shake the island as they tackle the big question. How does autonomy affect us, the youth? With courage, clarity, and conviction, we're stepping up and speaking out. Join us live in the chamber or tune in on YouTube and Facebook. We are bold, brilliant, and just getting started. Thursday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Listen, we little, but we talawa. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I have been chatting with Mr. Ricardo Alfred from TADCO, and we have been getting that update on all that's happening. So even, how long have you been functioning as the chairman for TADCO?
I would say fortunately, unfortunately, since 2022, March of 2022.
Right, and for you, what has been some of the biggest challenges and some of the biggest wins since you've been in this chair?
For me personally, being the type of person that I am, for me it's all about results. I know some of the managers, I find my my targets in which I give them are very unique, but I'm quite pleased today, to be honest, of the staff and all the management of TADCO, because I would say TADCO probably is the only company in Trinidad and Tobago that have so many young people at the helm. And it is very important for me that we create this type of environment for young people to get a chance to lead and to put their ideas and training back into some sort of meaningful employment. We would have engaged NESC in terms of getting students there. We have a lot of persons from the on the job training program, and that is my aim really, is to get a lot of these youths involved and get them to understand the workplace and also to understand business. One of our biggest highlights is bringing that vessel back into operation. And for me personally, I like to ensure that persons know exactly what's going on with the vessel, so that, because it's their vessel, whereas my training might be involved in that type of environment, I'm really trying to get the fisher folks and them as well to understand the importance of bridging that gap between a mothership and a pirogue. It's a very, very big step, and we're therefore going to be working with the fisher folks in terms of training and stuff like that. I am in conversation bi-weekly with some of a group of fisher folks as relates to training and having discussions with them in terms of making their product better. So I'm happy where the company is financially as well, as to what we met it. Suppliers are paid in a more timely manner. And it is therefore, it is running as a company. I'm quite pleased about that, where we are. Subvention come, subvention don't come, the staff are still going to get paid based on the measures in which we would have put to increase some of the assets that we have done there, and to put back some of the assets that was not working and functioning back into the space. So you have things like the cold storage that was not maintained for a very, very long time. When I came, there was a mountain of refrigerant bottles. Now we are finding the leaks, replacing some of the motors and some of the compressors, so that we have a better service We do have some challenges as relates to the current coming into TADCO. However, we are working with the authorities to rectify that, whereas we can have a more constant flow of current, because it affects the equipment in a very, very serious way, And then, due to procurement and stuff like that, in which I'm quite pleased on what the procurement is doing. We just have to keep working. But I'm quite pleased where the company is right now financially. And as relates to the staff, I'm very proud as to where the staff has come. The staff is responsible for painting the compound. The staff is responsible for, meeting the public. And I can say, because sometimes I just go there and just sit and, when people come in, hi, good morning. Your first entry into organization is that first greet, and I'm quite pleased where they are. The staff, kudos to them.
Right, and even as it pertains to, when you guys came in, you met that Goldsboro processing plant project. We are in 2025 now. This administration came in the end of 2021. And I remember that, there were no documentation during the handing over and all that. But it has been some time since then. Where are you with that project?
It's quite fitting that you mentioned that. Huh? So I wrote a letter back in 2022 to the Assistant Commissioner of Police who was based there in Tobago, in which that was forwarded to the Anti-Corruption Bureau or something like that in Trinidad. It's only in 2025 I've actually received a conversation. I've actually had an interview with them. And in which, sadly, headways could be faster. However, they didn't engage me in 2025 in terms of making some headway there. What persons have to understand is that you cannot enter into a space, especially when you have a lot of outstanding issues there. If you were to accept and enter into that space as relates to what's going on, we would have to accept all liabilities, accept every single wrong that was done to that organization. It is important that we get the scope of work. It is important that we get all the contracts, the people who are involved, what they were supposed to do, and these type of things. You are not dealing with, you're not dealing with Ricardo Alfred money. You're dealing with the state money. Persons have to be held accountable as relates to these type of things.
So there's still no paper trail as it pertains to, who was the contractor that did the building, what was the procurement process, and
we would know exactly who the persons are as to the scope of work and as to what they were contracted to do. That's what we need to really hold those persons accountable or liable or that type of.
But even as it pertains to continuing that development, is that something that is still on the table? So, is it, a part of the agenda of this current administration to continue working on that building to finish it? Because if it still has not been utilized after so many years, we know that the property becomes deteriorated over time. So what is happening there?
So the space is good. It's a more central space. What we need to do right now is to make a decision as relates to repurposing that space in terms of whether it be a collection point, whether it be a processing point. So we are going to be working with the various agricultural persons. We are in conversation with persons as well as relates to repurposing that space. Because now you would now have to get the type of equipments going in there. And from these equipments, you have something called the load factor and the power factor, in which you have to take the T&Tech to determine the size of transformers, how much power you need. And this is why the documentation is very, very critical, in terms of these type of equipment. So it's going to be repurposed, and we're definitely you're going to be seeing some things coming out of there very soon. We therefore just have to dot all the I's and stuff like that, because there's no running water, there's no sewage connection, there's nothing, and yet that whole project cost taxpayers at least $8 million. But nevertheless, we are therefore going to do what we have to do in terms of getting that space up and running. So it's just that we have to put a lot of priority in place as relates to other priority items in terms of making that TADCO brand.
All right. And even as we round up this morning's discussion, is there anything that you want to leave us with or that you were not able to highlight this morning?
Well, what I would say is that we are going to be working with the fisher folks. We now have the Maritime Authority coming up once a month to Tobago in terms of getting the fisher folks and various persons in that type of environment get all of their certifications sorted and get all of their launch captain renewals and all these type of things. So it's very crucial that they come to Tobago. One other aspect as well is that there's going to be a pilot project in which, separate to TADCO, I am also the maritime surveyor here in Tobago as relates to ships and their seaworthiness. Fishermen are going to be, we're going to be calling on them because we're going to be doing some training with them as relates to certification. They are going to get something called a small boat operator's license. It's free, you know. So I want all of the fisher folks and other persons to get it. It's a type of certification. It's not difficult at all. You just come in, we will go through all of the different things, and you're going to get that certification. What this does as well is that you put fishermen now and move them away from careers that persons believe that if you can't do schoolwork, you could go and fish or farm or stuff like that. We're going to make them into business persons involved in a fishing trade or involved in a farming trade. It is very important that certification is key as relates to this type of environment. So they're going to be trained. We're going to be doing some work with them. I am in conversation with the various associations, and they are all on board with it. Again, this is a free certification. Tobago will lead in terms of getting all of the persons certified, because that is my aim really, to put Tobago on the map. So
Are you also inviting folks to come from Trinidad to be a part of that training as well?
It's open to anyone. I mean, the certification is recognized in Trinidad and Tobago.
Excellent.
Right?
And, you know, finally, as that recycling company was removed from the TADCO compound, is there a notification saying that it's no longer there? And if so, is that facility going to be back out on the market to be rented soon if businesses are interested in, how much square foot did you say?
So it's about 5,000 square foot. We are currently doing a lot of cleaning of that space where we have to sanitize it and that type of environment. However, we do have some new rates, and we do encourage persons to come in. We do have a lot of interested persons who want to rent the space, and we are going to be having that type of conversation. Again, you know, as relates to the food hub and stuff, we have now been granted our bar license, so all of that will be available for the public to really...
So persons would be able to sell alcohol at the food hub?
Yes, we will just operate as a landlord. We're not going to be involved in that type of trade as well. So yeah. But there are going to be some new items coming there on the food hub. Things like an ATM, the player machine, to get persons into that space, get them away from the street selling stuff on the street and get them into a more safer environment.
So are you engaging some of those street vendors that you see in Scarborough there, even along that Milford Road area?
In the Tobago space, persons are oriented based on what they see. So I guess when we have everything set up and they see what is going on, we can engage them. But they know persons are not really keen on lip service. So we're going to put all of these things in place and then get them involved. But we already have certain licenses in place and, you know, get them up and running.
Right. But it is the plan to come and engage all those persons on the Milford Road that are selling coconuts and, you know, clothes and all these things to get them into the food hub.
The intention is to involve all Tobagonians, all businesses, you know, as relates, and have a central point where they can do their trade in a more safe manner. It's a huge car park space. It's a central location. But we're going to put all of the items there. We did write to First Citizens Bank to get an ATM there. So, you know, there's some stuff coming to therefore assist persons in a very meaningful way, you know.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming in and giving us this update, Ricardo, and thank you to your TADCO team. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Tobago. This Labor Day, June 19th, API Music and Timeless Vibes Promotions kicks off Tobago Jazz Music and Golf Weekend 2025 with Plymouth Love, featuring Jazz at Dawn, 6:30 a.m. till noon, with Franz Job, Prince Unique, and much more.
Then kicking it old school, 6 p.m. to midnight, featuring Oscar B, Andre J. Donowa, Joe Archer, and a very special guest, K. Alan Maloney, all at Plymouth Tennis Court Car Park. This entire celebration is in support of K's medical expenses. Just $200 per event, or experience both events for only $300. Tickets are available at Barcode, Nandes Bar, and Island E-Tickets. Events supported by Frankie Tours, Bermuda's Biscuits, Tobago Updates, Street 91.9, Radio Toco, Stone Tower Studio, Ifor Design, and Click. Plymouth Love, one community, sunrise to sunset.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Yeah. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denial.
Back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and this morning we are back with much more conversation. I have in studio with me Mr. Xavier Edwards, who is the PRO of the Tobago Civil Net. Good morning, Xavier, and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel, and good morning to all our viewers.
Right, this morning we are talking about Tobago Remembrance Day celebration. Tell us a bit about what's happening as it pertains to that, dates, and what Tobagonians can look forward to.
Okay. Well, on Saturday, the 14th of June, we'll be honoring the legacy of those who came from Africa and built, and remembering those who perished along the journey. This is the 4th year it's being held. It will be held at James Park, Tobago, starting at 8 a.m. We'll have a short procession to some significant sites on the land here. And yeah, we'll have some interesting speakers to share that story with us as well.
Right. And, even as it pertains to Tobago's treasures and things that were brought from Africa, you hear a number of persons talk about things that were buried and are hidden. What type of conversations surrounding our indigenous African history and culture can we expect to come out of these type of conversations that will be happening on Remembrance Day at the James Park?
Well, we have three very notable speakers who will be sharing in detail some of those things for us. That will be Awo Olafin, who is the spiritual leader of the Ifa faith in Tobago, who will be well acquainted with those aspects of our legacy and our story. As you know, the Ifa faith stems out of a Yoruba tradition, which comes from Nigeria and Benin, pick up in a boy on time. And
right.
Also, we're going to have Mervyn O'Neill, who's going to be a speaker. He's a chemical engineer, but also an educator, and he is also an author. He wrote a book about historical breakdown of Tobago's history, as well as we will have Dr. Rita Pemberton as one of our speakers as well, who is a senior lecturer at the University of the West Indies in historical studies, especially African history studies, as well as a strong advocate for African self-awareness and reparatory justice. So all three of those speakers, I'm sure, will be able to share a lot of details about our African story and why it's important for us to know it and understand more about it.
And why do you think it's important for Tobagonians to want to come out and participate and not just hear, but to celebrate and collaborate?
I think it's important for us to come out because in a significant way, firstly, Tobago is 97% African descendant. It's actually one of the most densely populated, when in terms of African numbers, in the whole Caribbean region. We didn't have as much of a mix of people coming from different continents as some of the other places, including Trinidad. So from that, within that context, I think it's important for us to understand some of those cultural and historical aspects. Moreover, a significant amount of us who came here or whose ancestors came here would have come from that very region, West Africa, Benin, Nigeria, where all our speakers will be sharing. They have an adept knowledge of those stories. And I think whether we're cognizant of things or not, it kind of come like when you're about to enter an insurance agreement. They're like, what is the history of disease in your family? Because that could help inform some of the things that could come up in the future. And I think a lack of understanding of those elements of our history has us blindsided by things that we face and confused by why sometimes we find challenges in integrating into a world that evolved without heavy input from us.
Right. And how do you think knowledge of self and history has helped, those that are currently in Africa to thrive, and how that same level of understanding and awareness of where we came from can help us as a society to also accelerate at the level that we're now seeing countries like Nigeria accelerating at when it comes to, developing in many different areas, especially when it comes to the arts. Absolutely. Talk to us a bit about that.
I think that need for connection and community that drives us to develop relationships, have friends, talk to each other. I think that need never leaves human beings. We're born with it and we continue to evolve through it. The spirit of Africa and of our stories from all these various tribes still lives within us, and in many ways I try to remember that practicing and supporting those ideas and truths has been not only demonized and criticized, but also illegal at different points throughout history. The inability to practice certain traditions, even something as simple as beating the drum, which we take for granted now. So in the sense of coming to understand your own journey and who you are as a person, which then will inform the way you operate I think that will add value to all areas of arts, of culture, of social interaction, of business acumen, of religion, you know, and connect us back to that genetic history that we carry in our veins, but we don't have a document to really give it in.
I mean, even in places like Nigeria, under the very same Yoruba tradition as you were highlighting, they still have the Oba, you know, in every different state.
Absolutely.
So they still have those rulers and they still have their palace.
Yeah.
So you go there and you see all the Obas that has passed from before. You see all the traditions and you see, you know, all some of their assets. You see their gold. You see, you know, even in Benin, where, you know, a lot of the Benin bronzes were taken to the UK. How important is it for us to now go beyond just a heritage festival, but to creating a culture of retaining, embracing, and trying to showcase that which has gone on to make us the people that we are?
So, first I would like to say that the Heritage Festival, I think, does play a role, and an important role, because that festival takes a snapshot of a short period in history, a short period in our African history as Caribbean people since we landed here. But it's important to remember that that part of the history was not something that was engaged in willingly by the Africans who came here. So it has a story of resilience in it, but it also has a significant story of hardship and downpression and oppression, and in many degrees, shame as well. And I think the lack of knowledge about the timeline in Africa before we arrived there, kidnapped unwillingly, and the love and the wealth and the engineering and the agricultural advancements that existed, and the advanced civilizations of people who did amazing things. I think that the disconnect is that we only teach this far, and that is what runs through the psyche of our people. And not everyone could take a story of hardship and turn it into strength. Some people sometimes would like to hear something nice about their story, something empowering about their story, something brave and courageous and glorious as well.
And with that, that also helps to empower today's youth to be more innovative. When they see that persons like themselves, or who look like them, or who have hair like them, were the actual inventors and architects behind a number of the technologies that we see today, you know, and so that opens the conversation up to what can we invent in 2025? What can be invented, you know, in 2026 and moving forward?
Absolutely.
You know, it speaks to conversations pertaining to medicine and medical advancement that our people in Africa were able to tap into that were even stolen later on. I mean, but even as it pertains to Remembrance Day is aimed at taking a look back further than where the Tobago Heritage Festival often starts at, and to make persons aware that our history as Africans did not start when we got to Tobago, or to Trinidad and Tobago, or to the Caribbean, or when we got on the ship, or when we left Ghana and were taken. So just remind the people why it's so important to participate in this Remembrance Day celebration that's taking place this Saturday at James Park.
Well, I think it's important because it's your story. It's our story. The mind is creative, and what we fill our minds with, we express. And if our minds are filled with stories that aren't our stories, aren't written by us, and then we're creating a world that, doesn't really reflect all that we have and are. So I think it's important for everyone who is in the least bit interested about understanding who they are, there's beyond when we arrived in Tobago, and why we are different in so many ways, and connecting with like-minded people who share that feeling to come to James Park at 8 a.m. on Saturday, 14th of June and connect with our African.
Excellent. And for the students who are also studying history, anthropology, and any other related fields, this may be in your best interest to attend.
Absolutely.
And those persons who just enjoy hanging out with their counterparts, dressing in their, elegant African attire, and just coming out and paying homage to their ancestors, this might just be the thing for you. So guys, we want to again encourage you to come out and be a part of that. And is there anything you want to say in closing as we wrap up our conversation this morning?
I would just like to say thanks to our sponsors, White Flower Content Studio, Alan Richards, Pancake House, Clayton Jackson, and remind everyone, just as a note when you come out, to please wear white or African print, as you said, and bring some fruits as an offering.
Okay, and then tell us a bit about the role of Hetepu Productions in the overall celebration.
Well, Hetepu Production has been doing this celebration and Remembrance Day for the last 4 years. This is the 4th year, and the 3 years basically by themselves. Sophia Giza, as well. I mean, she was supported, but Sophia Giza was coordinating this effort to bring that awareness to those on the ground here for the last 3 years. And this year, CivilNet would have collaborated with to support the effort because we think it's important as well.
Excellent. We want to thank you and your CivilNet counterparts, as well as everyone over there, specifically Miss Sophia Giza from Hetepu Production, for putting on this celebration. Guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.